Hey, riding side saddle, it's Tammy.
And it's Lisa.
And we've got a guest.
We sure do.
Yeah.
We have a new friend, Kelly.
Uh-huh.
Hi, Kelly.
Hi.
Hi. Welcome. Welcome to the recording studio.
I'm so glad to be here.
They all say
They
that.
all say that. Everyone does.
But
I'm not sure.
It really has a little giggle behind it, which is the telling
So
giggle.
glad to be in the back seat.
Right.
It's cozy. It is.
In 3 years that we've been doing this, we've changed locations of our recording studio, but the level of quality has
It's
not
still
changed
in the
one
back seat
single
of the
bit.
car. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, funny. So I had met Kelly through my husband, Scott, and got to know her relatively well recently. We did a retreat and Kelly attended, and I got to learn a bit about her. And we kind of just, we just kind of connected. It was, at least that was the way I felt. Well, we reached out to one another after the retreat, and Kelly invited me for coffee this past Sunday. So in our chats during coffee, I realized that some of the things that Kelly does and feels very passionately about and works towards are a lot of the things that we have talked about and grappled with throughout 3 years of our podcast.
Yeah.
And I'm like, please be on our podcast. So here we are.
Very serendipitous.
Like literally 2 days later, here we are.
Yeah.
Having Kelly
I love
on
it.
the podcast. So thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah. I'm so delighted, truly, to be here. It's an honor to be talking about the thing that I'm most passionate about.
Right?
So,
Yeah.
Absolutely. It fills you right up.
Yeah.
And it feels like, so just to give, I guess, a little bit of where my brain had gone, I scurried through 150 recordings, like 150
Oh, wow.
there are on YouTube.
Truly.
Yes.
Yeah.
To figure out, I'm like, okay, where were we talking about this? And where were the issues that we were experiencing? And one of them, I don't remember what season or which episode in the season it was, but it was around creating, creating for the joy of creating. I could find it. And then we had another one that we were talking about. Well, the one that we were talking about, the joy of creating, was really around some of the obstacles that we create for ourselves as it relates to these creative endeavors that, we like to paint, we like to draw, we like to write, we like to create pottery. And we create all of these obstacles in our own way so that we don't spend the energy
Doing the things that we love, that light us up, that fill us with joy, that you replenish the well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And in my conversation with Kelly on Sunday, she had a word for that. She had like the gut root aspect of what we were grappling with. And I wanted to talk more about that.
Yeah, it's important. We have, during our planning session, we identified that we, you and I, Lisa, have, we've had questions, right? We've brought these things up kind of at the moment they felt like they were at a deeper level, but we didn't really have any answers. We just knew that we're struggling with some of these things, especially being creative. We had Rhonda on, and she talked about creators need to create, right?
Yes.
And we were all made to be creative.
Yeah, true.
This has come up, probably half a dozen times over the last 3 years. So it's clearly something, because I think it's probably the one issue that we've talked about the most.
I think you're right.
Most often. But we've never gotten down to the root, as Lisa likes to say. And Kelly, I think you identify that much better than we ever could have.
Good.
she's like, please speak. So 2 of the episodes that I found this in and I sent to Kelly in preparation for tonight, they were both actually in season 5. And the first one was episode 6. It was called Create Just to Create, Dream Just to Dream. And then the second one is also season 5, episode 9, Create Your Own Magic. And in that one, we were talking a lot about an activity that you and I had stumbled upon many years ago as we were like texting back and forth. Yes, we were writing back and forth.
Yeah.
You and I were like creating a story between the
daydreaming
2
over
of us.
text.
Yes, and it was the most like literally you could see the story take place.
Yeah.
And it was in that space that manifestation happens, right? We were like in the flow of the energy of where you need to be. Yeah.
And we didn't intend it. We weren't like, hey, want to do this? It just happened.
It did.
Yeah.
It did. So now, Kelly, I'll look back at you because you have vocabulary to tie to this that kind of brings all of this together.
Yeah. Do you want me to talk about that?
Please.
Yeah. So I think in one of those episodes, you were talking and exploring, like I want to create pottery, but I feel like I just, when the time comes to do that, I find myself watching an episode of something or I'm
just too tired. I don't have the energy to give it.
Yeah. And, but then my husband's in bed, so there's no reason why I shouldn't.
Right.
And
except I'm too tired, so I don't have the energy to give it.
Yeah.
Right. I have the time. It's not a time problem for me. It is really more of an energy problem and an allowing problem.
And then when you do create it, I also was hearing you talk about like all of the kind of personal assessment and evaluation and criticism that comes up towards the thing that you created.
Right.
Yeah.
It's never going to be good enough anyway, so why bother?
And yet the pottery, the act of like doing pottery keeps gnawing at you.
Yeah.
And there's like a desire there, but you just don't know what to do about that desire.
Correct.
I have called her an inspiration doula. Because doula is a big word for me these days. It's bringing life, right? And she has this creativeness that I don't have. Like I just don't have that spark to want to create in that way. And it's it's an inspiration. So you're bringing inspiration to life.
Yeah.
I wish it were not so frustrating.
Wish birth wasn't so painful either.
That's true. I mean, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. And so then, what we were exploring earlier is that it's like when those feelings come up, then you can, it like, what is all of that?
Right.
What is that gnawing and what do you do about that? And I feel like I've come to call that the ache. It's a place of kind of persistent internal pain, discomfort, gnawing, nudging, something that's vying for your attention. It keeps grabbing at you and you're like, would you just shut up already? Or, and then it's kind of, it's pulling at you so that you turn in to look at it. Be with it. Be with like, okay, when I, what are these feelings that are coming up? I'm tired. I don't have the energy or the drive for it. I find myself getting, I could prioritize it, but I don't. I think all of those feelings beg for more exploration. And I think what we aren't really taught to do, we've kind of built a whole society around it, is like we've been taught to numb out from that. We've been taught to turn away from that discomfort, to distract ourselves. And it's precisely within that discomfort and turning and facing it and embracing it and holding space for it to keep emerging where life can teach you. Life can offer you more insight and inspiration so that eventually what's at the heart of that, like that it's pulling you to, it's like an invitation to create more. And part of that invitation is also to explore, like, what are these barriers that keep life from moving in this particular way for you?
Right. I just find myself collecting more art supplies to pacify that ache.
Right. Ooh, this looks good.
Yeah.
I'll use this the next time I crack open into things.
Yes.
Yeah.
But those are actually like a distraction.
Yes,
and not
they are.
actually have
Yes.
to just do this.
Just do
Right.
it. Yeah.
So interestingly, my flippant comment that was kind of just off the cuff is actually making me think the more and more that you talk, Kelly. So when I said, and you wish birth weren't so painful,
Yeah.
right? Though, as you're talking about the ache, which is discomfort in and of itself, it's kind of an interesting analogy to compare it to true birth, right?
Oh, it is. Yeah.
Because there's obvious pain and discomfort in bringing life forward. As mothers, we all know that. And this is a process as well, right? To be able to engage into the ache, the discomfort, and be with it. Somebody recently has been using analogies about birth with me for my own personal work that I'm doing. And the one thing that she continues to say is quit contracting against it. It makes it more painful. You have to allow it, and it will just like giving birth, right? The more you the more you hold your body tense when you're in labor,
The
the
worse
more
it is. Yeah.
painful it's going to be.
Yep.
So through these numbing components, or I'm not even good at it anyway, it's not good enough, I'm never going to show this, why spend my time? Those are, it feels like it kind of blends in with that analogy, like those are all the contractions.
You're right.
Or contracting and not allowing and kind of delving into the discomfort. Right?
That birth is a beautiful analogy, and it's one I've referred to often for myself because so my first birth, I did 2 home births without anything, and my first one I went into labor Sunday night, she came out Wednesday night.
Wow.
So it was a on and off for several days, and I felt like it was the most intense, triathlon, whatever sporting event I'd ever participated in.
Right.
Yeah.
So then when my second daughter came along and she was, on the verge of coming into the world, I remember I had to do a lot of work around that word pain. And I noticed in myself that, and I think I read a book by the author Aviva Jill Ram. I think she was the author. And it was just talking about like that word pain. And when we think of the word pain, we contract.
Oh yeah.
But when I started calling like the contraction, like the labor pains, I called them just big sensations.
Oh.
Here comes another big sensation. And it was just like riding the big sensations, riding that wave. And I think when we come back to like, I've struggled a lot with, what do I call this feeling inside that feels like life is calling us. Life is calling us to evolve, to grow, to give birth to something. It's calling for our attention, and it feels like ache because I call it ache because it's like
feel that way.
it's uncomfortable. It's
gnawing.
It keeps bugging you. You can't turn, like, even though you try to go away from it, turn away from it, numb out, it's still there and it's persistent. And I think ache for me describes like the totality of all of that. Sometimes it's pain, sometimes it's frustration, sometimes it's just persistent gnawing. But it's a, it's a sensation that's serving the purpose of telling you that you're about to, you are on the precipice of potentially giving birth to life. Do you consent? Because it needs your consent to like fully come through.
Yeah.
And we can keep shutting it down. And I know what it's like to shut that down, because that's what I did with my first birth, and I think that's why it took her so long
Oh gosh.
to come out.
When
and
you're
I finally
afraid of
was
it.
like, okay, this, and I kept talking with the midwives, and they're like, this is a very normal thing. Women throughout time have done this. And I'm like, I feel like a freaking freight train's about to rip through my vagina.
Yeah.
Like, well, then that's right.
Right.
That's how it's supposed to feel. You're doing it right.
And I am so afraid of that, right?
Yes. Yes.
Kind
And
of
life
holding
can
it
feel
back.
like that. Like
right.
creation, being in the act of creation is like, it takes us to the edge of our comfort zone. Always, every time, because we become something new each time we give birth to whatever life is calling us to next.
That's really
Wow.
That's really interesting. Just like when you bring in a child, right? You change from a maiden to a mother. And like when you bring another one in, they're a different child. So you evolve as a person as well. So yeah, interesting.
I never thought of it like that. I have so many things to think about.
It is a lot.
It's a lot
isn't
to
it?
process. Yeah. Getting at so I'm never going to be good enough, right? My work is never going to be presentable. It's never going to be showable or givable or sellable or anything else, because I tell myself that it's the contraction that I'm fighting, right? It's that big sensation. Oh, here it comes. I've got that urge. Here it comes. No. It's not going to be good enough. No. Just go do something else. Buy some more art supplies. Yeah.
Clean the kitchen.
Yeah. Maybe you should just knit.
Spend time with your husband,
that'll
right.
That'll cure that urge. Like it'll satisfy the urge.
Right.
When that really, I mean, knitting is fine, but it's the pottery that really calls me.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's your like criticism, self-judgment, like a self-assessment of it that keeps you. Does that feel like a lot of what keeps you from doing it?
Because it's frustrating to me, because I feel like I can do better. It just is not coming out. So if it's not going to come out, what's in my head is not coming out through my fingers. So there's a disconnect somewhere. When really it might just be more practice.
Yeah. It feels like I just have this image as you're talking of, like, as you're putting your fingers forward, I'm like, those are the fingers that need to extend to facilitate helping that baby come out of the birth canal.
Gosh. Yeah.
And it's your fingers that are the vessel to let this baby come out of your pottery.
Interesting.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
I like that. And
I'm going to sit with that for a while.
Yeah. Well, there are
Let that marinate.
There are so many obstacles that you put into play, right? And we're talking about creativity in the arts form. Like I do that type of thing too, but I'm like, well, I don't have time to whatever it is, write, draw, whatever. Because I have to do this and I have to do that, and this is my responsibility, and I have this to do first, and then by the time I'm done with all that, then I'll only have this amount of time, so why even start? Or those types of things. So very similar in nature, that I'm just cramming it down because all of these other things have to be done, and that has to be done before I can allow myself to do something fun.
Give into that urge to soothe the ache.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But really, if you flip that script, it is you're just piling it
Just
on,
pushing it down.
right? Because you're afraid to allow it to happen. And that happens at so many levels, right? We're talking about creativity in forms of art, but I think, Kelly, where your work comes in is stemming into how do you delve into the ache to live a life of passion, of a life of what you want to do, right?
Of purpose.
Exactly. So this ache is at all different levels, yes?
Mm-hmm.
It's the same core feeling.
Yep. Yeah.
There must be more. What am I here to do?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. I say all the time, we didn't come here to live like this, where you get up, you rush to get out the door, you put your time in at work, you rush to get home, you rush to get dinner, you rush to get to bed, wash, rinse, repeat. Like, we did not come here to live like that. And you're describing that feeling of, we didn't come here to live like that in one word.
Mm-hmm.
It's the ache.
Yeah. Well, and I believe that we are here to live up, like truly lit up and on fire.
Yeah.
And that when we honor the way life wants to move through us, wants to express through us, that we become lit up and on fire in our lives. And lit up and on fire doesn't mean easy. It doesn't mean that it's just like you're coasting. It means that you're allowing life to keep moving, to keep expressing, and you keep, I think that ache, it kind of keeps it keeps coming. The contractions keep coming because the birth keeps coming. And I think we're called into just like dance with that discomfort and allow it, because it's stretching you from the inside out into something unfamiliar and new. And I believe with all of my heart that, like, when we honor life and thriving in that way inside of us, it also equates to life and thriving around us. Like, we spill out that kind of thriving energy into the ecosystems in which we live. And so life begets life.
Wow. I fucking love that. What you focus on, you bring forth, right? And that's an internal thing. What you focus on, you bring forth.
But where your eyes go, you will follow.
Yes. Yeah. What I hear you saying is, when you find that and you allow for what is trying to be created within you, it can do the energy that emits from you in your place of passion and joy can do nothing but positively influence the energy around you, the people around you, and the planet itself.
Yes.
In our collective.
Yes.
Wow.
That is enormous.
Yeah. And I think a lot of growth, like self-help growth kind of things, we focus on, we focus on, like, I want to do more of this. I want to be more like this. I want to express like this. I want life to move like this. And we have that in mind, and then we're stuck because the ache keeps coming, and we treat the ache as it's counterproductive to our desire to move in this direction. The ache is actually an invitation into our power.
Right. So what we have logically figured out, I want to live life like this, I want to do this, might not be in correlation with what the ache is trying to direct us towards. Is that what you're saying?
Or it might, like, that desire to do that, to like the pottery. Like, the desire might be, it's a persistent desire. I feel like when it's a persistent, gnawing desire, there's something about that's life-giving for you. I think it's the persistent ache. We tend to loop around, like, I have this desire, why can't I do this? Why, I want to do it. It should like this, but it keeps looking like this. And then we have all of the that kind of ache that comes forth. That's our criticism, our judgment, our
Gremlins.
yeah. And it's like actually like going in and looking at where does that come from? Like, why are those gremlin thoughts there? Why are those, that self-sabotaging kind of, what is that rooted in? And, so sometimes it's not like a quick and easy fix.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's sitting with that discomfort of like, oh God, this whole ball of emotion comes up every time I try to step into this. It might not be your head that can figure out the answer to that.
Right.
But sitting with it long enough, holding space for that discomfort, eventually it starts to have some, like, there's wisdom that comes forth in that.
Lisa, I think that's where you're really good about making that sort of space in your journaling. When something's gnawing at you. Like, that's how you work it out. You don't necessarily think it to death. I mean, you might do that too, but
Yeah.
where you really get it out is when you're writing.
It's true.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with that. It allows me to getting things written can do one of two things. It allows me to stop overthinking it. Like it stops
Shuts
running.
that tape.
Yes, it stops going through and through and through.
The
And I just
ruminating.
get it out on paper, correct? And I have learned that this goes a little woo-woo, but you know what? It's our last goddamn season, so I'm just going to say it.
Just let your freak flag fly.
Right? I also channel when I write.
Oh, so the
like,
answers
it'll
just come through you.
Yes, and it will just be like, oh my God, that just...
Where did that come from?
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then I close my journal very slowly. You're like, okay.
Just tuck that away.
Yes. I'll see you next week.
Not ready to look at that.
Right.
Okay.
So yes, it does a number of things. It does create space so I don't ruminate and I can get it out. And I can also channel information. Yeah. Get yourself a journal for sure.
I have about 12 of them. It's another thing I collect.
Okay.
Yeah.
It would be interesting if you could find a way to allow the pottery, like the clay, the act of engaging with the clay.
Yeah.
If you could allow that to start talking to you, teaching you.
That's interesting.
So are you suggesting that when you go down and you start like working with your clay, that it's shifting from a logical, linear,
I'm
do
going
this
to
step,
make
I make this step,
yeah.
I do this next, and moving more into I'm just going to
let it be what it is.
Right, and then see what comes forward. Is that what you're suggesting?
Yeah, I mean, like when we engage in the act of, creating a baby, like, you don't know, like,
logically, this goes here and that does this.
But then you don't know if it's going to be a boy or a girl. You don't know what color hair they're going to have, what color eyes they're going to have.
I see
you
where you're
definitely
coming
don't know, like, are
Not
they
the
going to be
actual creating, Lisa.
Just saying. There's some science to it.
I'm in the backseat.
Right? But I see where you're going.
Yeah.
Right? Like, okay, at a certain point, everything's a mystery.
Yeah.
And how it comes out is the way it's going to come out, and that's exactly the way it was supposed to be.
Yeah. Like when I so I told you earlier I did like YouTube recordings, and I would often know like I would know, I'd get a phrase, I'd get a word, a phrase, a feeling, and I would just follow it. And that was, I had no idea what I was going to say, how long the post was going to be. And it would just keep coming until it was done. And I found that frequently with writing, where I'm like literally, it's a sentence. And I put this sentence on the paper, and then all of a sudden it's like, whoa, that was a whole lot that just came forth from me. And I usually find like it's a sentence, and the first sentence might be, it's usually anchored in some kind of a discomfort, an ache, something I'm wrestling with. And then like the whole thing starts to flow out. And then at the very end, I'm like, well, I feel better. Right. That thing feels resolved. I feel some, and I'm feeling with maybe the clay is like, it's inviting you to like the clay itself, you know, not the finished product of the pottery and what that's going to look like, but the clay is inviting you into a creative partnership or dance. And your hands are part of what's birthing it, but like neither you nor the clay know what it's going to become.
That's interesting, because that's oftentimes where I stop. I'll have some time and I'll think, okay, I don't have anything else that I really have to do, so I'm going to go spend some time in my studio, and I will make something. I might make several things, but pottery is a multi-step process, so it's not just like you can just do it for a couple hours and then be done.
Right.
You have to come back in a few hours or the next day and do something to it, and then you have to come back after that and do something. And so it's the coming back after. Like I can do that part that you were talking about, like the clay wants to be what it wants to be, and I can let it be what it is, but I don't take it to where it's final.
But I wonder if you like kind of stayed present to that kind of same creative process the whole way through. Is there a certain point
So
where
I think
what
happens is, so I'll feel like, okay, well, I've done that enough for today. And I will tell myself, so now, you know, tomorrow at this time, you'll come down here and you'll do this next step. But I don't do it. I don't follow through. And I think that some of it is because the ache has been satisfied. So I don't have that urge. I don't have the drive, like, it's not pushing me to do it.
Yeah.
So I don't ever get anything finished because I don't, like, I'm, okay, yeah, that was great. I feel better now.
Well, maybe that's all it needs to be for right now.
Well, maybe, but I can only have so many started projects, you know what I mean? And now I've got these pots that I'm just going to have to crush and reclaim because I can't. They dry. They get too dry, and you can't.
Oh, I see.
You can't do the next step when they're too dry.
Got it. So
it becomes garbage then.
You can't come back
Not
to it.
actual garbage, but it's not usable. I have to crush it and get it, like, rehydrate it, and that's another whole process then.
Yeah.
Or I've just wasted 25 pounds of clay.
Right. So then you ultimately start over again and start over again and start over
I'm
again.
always starting over again.
Yeah.
Right.
But earlier you were talking about other thoughts that would kind of come in.
Yep.
That were a barrier. Are those two like in the first phase, or are
No,
those
in the second and third phase? Yeah.
It feels like
The perfectionist pieces, is that what you're referring to?
Kind of. It's it's not really going to be good enough anyway, so why even bother finishing it? So, I mean, a bowl is a bowl, right? And I can center clay. I can throw a decent bowl. It's not that. But then when I don't come down to finish it, well, now it's garbage. So I have to crush it and rehydrate it and start that process all over again. When I only have this little bit of time, so I'll just get out some new clay and then I'll just set that aside because I don't have time to deal with that because I only have a little bit of time. So then I'll just throw some more, and then the next, like, it just keeps repeating. I'm stuck in that. I can throw
In your cycle.
right,
Yeah.
right.
it does feel like it would be, I'm curious, like, what would happen if you were to just, like, when you're like, oh, I could go down there, I don't want to, I'd rather throw new clay instead. That if you just sit with, like, what is the resistance in me to
just go in the space and sit with it.
Sit with it. Maybe sit with the pieces in front of you.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Talk to me.
Yeah.
Like, and have your insides talk to you. Like,
I have goosebumps.
where is the resistance?
Yeah. I have goosebumps because I thought the resistance was handles. Handles are hard and they crack, and then like now you can't use that mug with a cracked handle, right? So okay, I just won't make things with handles. Well, then I threw a whole bunch of bowls that I was going to make into berry bowls, but I never went back down to put the holes in to make them berry bowls, and I didn't trim them, and so they're unfinished. And yeah, I have some yarn bowls that are sitting there that I've even glazed, and they're just like in the middle of glazing. They're not. I haven't finished that either. Yeah. I like the idea of sitting there. I also wonder if, because clay does take, like pottery takes a lot of time. And so I often wait for when I have like a whole afternoon or a whole day where it's a Saturday, I don't have anything else planned today. Today is going to be a pottery day. If I were to allow myself to just have, I don't know, shorter periods of time, I don't have to make 12 bowls. I could make 2. And that could be enough. That ache probably would not be satisfied. But that may allow me to come back in a day or two to finish what I've started, rather than being like, okay, I did this for 10 hours and now the ache is satisfied and I don't have the energy to get back down there, or I don't have the time to get back down there because I spent too much, like it's an all or nothing.
Upfront,
right? So I have to quit before the ache is completely satisfied.
Yeah. It's
so I have to come back. Like it pushes me to continue to finish what I've started.
You know,
maybe I could even get a kiln full of pieces that I could put in there. Yeah, right.
Yeah. When you go back, like if you did spend all Saturday creating new pieces, could those pieces in theory, like could they all fit in the kiln? Or would they be too many?
Oh, sure. No.
Okay. So they would all fit. So could you, like the next session, is it dried up already? Like it's too late? Or what's your window of time?
So it's too late to trim it. So if I wanted to put, like on the bottom of a bowl, there's a little ring.
Yeah.
So that's called a foot. But you have to trim that foot. The clay can't be all the way dry to trim the foot.
Otherwise it cracks.
Right.
Or you can't even do it.
You can't do it.
Yeah.
So I have to get down there before it gets to that point where it's too dry.
Yeah.
There really is a smallish window, and that window changes all the time depending on atmospheric humidity.
Yeah.
So in the summer I might have a little longer window. In the winter it might be less.
Yeah. Well, and it feels a little like there's something about that first phase of the process that feels, I'm going to use the word safest, but I don't know if that's the right word. Like it's
well, I don't really fail at that point, right? Pottery can fail at every point along the way.
But you're good at that point. So there's like a satisfaction
Yeah,
to
look what I did. That.
Yeah.
And it that ache that you're talking about, I absolutely know what you mean. And it's satisfied.
Yeah.
And I think I've got a plan for how I'm going to take on the next step.
But then it's going to be uncomfortable. Like the next step represents more discomfort.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
And it might be taking you into a discomfort in a different way. And
the next big sensation, and I just have too much resistance to that.
Because that unearths the perfectionism,
it does.
Finished product, like it should look like this, but it doesn't quite look like this. So
that's fascinating.
It is fascinating.
Like I know nothing about pottery, right? But listening to Kelly, you kind of walk through and ask the very deliberate tactical questions in order to get to the not tactical root, right? Like it's a very soft emotional root, by way of asking tactical questions. That was fascinating. And these quandaries, like we're the example is pottery, but these quandaries, literally we live our whole lives in some cases not addressing the ache of why we're here and what we're doing, or the lack of thriving, that you had talked, like ultimately we pile on and pile on and pile on so many things on top of this ache that we just like die out as like,
I think
as
she
people.
said, like, someone who just really doesn't thrive their whole life. They just, every day it's that wash, rinse, repeat cycle, right? Every day. And then they retire and they die 6 months later, right? Stroke happens or whatever. It's that. Like, that's what happens. So you could substitute pottery for something else, right? So I just happened to be fortunate enough to have discovered that that is something that I'm passionate about. But it is, I think something else that stops me is it feels very frivolous to think that that could ever be a full-time job. There are full-time potters. I don't know why it feels that way to me. Like that's just a pipe dream. It's not really, I could never be somebody to be a full-time potter. That only happens to, some people once in a blue moon. So that's some of the resistance too. Like, why am I wasting my time doing this? What am I going to do with all this stuff? Really, what am I going to do with it?
But the reason that you would want to be a full-time potter is because
I don't want to do the job that I'm currently doing.
But why pottery? Because you could be an astronaut, or you could be
right. Because I don't have an answer for the question of what do you want to be when you grow up. But I really like pottery.
You like pottery.
I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
It feels like my thing. Yeah.
So it feels good to you when you're doing it.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
it doesn't feel like drudgery. It doesn't feel like a should.
But it's the thought of like...
Right.
The thought of, I could never, I could never do it as a full-time job, making a full-time income. Therefore, I'm not going to do it at all.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm wasting my time.
But the reason that you do it is it actually it feels like it gives you life.
It does, actually.
And so is there not value in that?
There is.
And then...
Yeah. So that was the episode, Create Just to Create.
Right. Like it doesn't have to culminate into something
serve
profitability.
Some other purpose.
That's capitalism.
Right. Yes.
Right?
Right.
And the intention of making art doesn't have to be capitalism.
Right.
It can be satisfying a joy.
Right.
Making you feel whole.
Right.
Being proud of something that, you've done.
Right.
And I think when people are truly, we look around and we see the people that are really lit up in their work.
Yeah.
Really alive and... usually it starts with honoring and just doing the thing you love to do.
Yeah.
Like, do the
Just
thing you
doing
love
it.
to do. What is, I don't know, was that book about parachutes or whatever. Do the thing you love to do and the money will follow.
Right.
But do what you love, and if life is truly moving through that, and you take the time to really honestly look at what's keeping it from moving through more when it feels like it wants to move, if you keep nurturing that, it will continue to blossom, because that's what life does when, and
it's the life begets life.
Yeah,
right.
That's the trajectory.
So I think I probably set myself up when I first discovered pottery. in part because it was, my kids had grown up and, left the nest, and I didn't know what to do with myself. I was not married anymore, and so I'm home by myself, and I'm way too young to just sit here and knit and wait for the Grim Reaper. So what am I going to do with myself? Who am I? What do I like? How am I going to discover things that I like to do when my whole life I've spent taking care of everybody else? I have no idea who I even am. And I discovered pottery at that time, and I thought, oh, if only I could do this full time, right? So my job is my job, and it serves a purpose, but it is not something that lights me up. So this really lights me up. I would really like for this to replace that. And so that, I kind of got stuck there. Not kind of, I did get stuck there. So if I'm going to do this that I really love, it has to replace this so that I can love it all the time.
I totally understand. I mean, I totally resonate with that and understand that. In the work that I'm doing, if you don't mind me talking about that
Please
for a
do.
moment.
That's why we're here. Yeah.
Yeah, like I started this work in 2000. Oh gosh. My husband and I were in the middle of a big transition in like 2013, 2000. It was around 2014, 2015 that I first started feeling the nudge to be a coach. I had been a minister for years. I was an occupational therapist, and I'm like, I really want to help people thrive. Like I want to help. I want to work on that end of the spectrum, because I feel like the people that I've been working with as an OT were so sick.
Yeah.
I'm on the verge of death, or and I'm like, I want to help people live their best life. And so that nudge started happening, and then I just started like immersing in different coach training courses and seeing if I really like that. Then I started dabbling with coaching as an occupational therapist with my patients to see if I enjoyed those kinds of conversations. I did. And it just kept like growing from there, and I kept like leaning into the love. Like, I do love this. I love thinking about this. I love imagining what it might be like to be a coach. I love helping, like I love imagining what it might be like to work with people to really help them live their best life. And it kept growing and evolving, and then I like did a whole thing around creating a course, and I had been in several different training programs and ran my course and piloted it in 2019. 22. I think at this point it was like 2021, 22. I ran a beta program in 21, in 22. And so I'm working full time. I've got 2 young kids. My husband's starting a farming adventure. And so it's all running in the background. And it was, he was diagnosed with cancer in June of 22. And I put everything on screeching halt. Like all the stuff that I had been pouring my own love into just came to a screeching halt. And I was like, can't do it. Cannot do that. I cannot juice that anymore, because right now he needs me.
Right.
My job needs me. My daughters need me.
Right.
And so the one thing I could do during that time to keep juicing my own passion was to keep having conversations through my YouTube channel about weaving together my concepts about personal thriving and planetary thriving being one and the same. And I all of a sudden was like, I wanted a space where I could talk about what I cared about. And so I created that for myself. And, that journey had all of my attention. And after he passed, it was the first time, that was the first time when like life opened up a window of opportunity for me. Because I had some extra funds that I didn't have before. I needed to be at home with my girls in a way I hadn't been before. And I needed to be there with our farm in the way that I hadn't been before. And so I was like, well, I am here. I need to be at the hub of my home. And this business, like there were, my girls are teenagers, so there were a lot of time where they were like doing their thing, but they needed mom to be present.
Yeah.
Right.
So I was, but I also was like,
But you
I
had
have
some
all
time.
kinds of time now to create this thing that's been burning in me. And so January of this past year, it's when I decided, like, okay, this is a thing that I'm going all in on. And I don't know where it's going to go, but I'm all in on investing in the training that I need and in really clarifying, like, what is this work? What does it look like? Like, I am going to be fully pregnant in this work.
Yes.
And eventually I desire to give birth to it. And I don't know what it's going to look like when I give birth to it. But
Just like your baby.
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess what I'm saying is, like, sometimes we nurture it on the side, and it's like it revisits us. It visits us in our dream. It visits us in our waking hours. We're like in a moment of quiet, and it's the thing that comes back and visits us again. And we sort of think, like, I got to be able to give everything to it right now.
Right.
But if we keep nurturing it, eventually it's going to grow legs and start walking and have a way to live in the world in a way that it can't when it's in this, like, infancy
Incubation.
stage. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kelly, tell me your business name, and how folks could learn more about you.
So my business is called Kelly Green Coaching. And so Kelly's my name, but Kelly also means warrior. And green is thriving, it's abundance, it's the earth, it's our planet, it's life, it's vitality. So I'm a warrior for all things thriving.
Oh,
I love it.
And abundant and green and growing. And I would like to say I bring a warrior kind of energy to, like, I really care with all my heart that people live lit up and on fire, that people thrive in the midst of their lives. And as I was sharing with you guys earlier, like, I have walked my husband across the threshold of death, and I know that, I supported him in his passions. I supported him in his watercolor painting. I supported him in his farming and in his rustic Italian cooking. I supported him in going to Italy while I stayed back with my girls and worked, because I didn't quite know what my passion was. I knew I loved helping people thrive, but I wasn't sure what that looked like in terms of my own life and how do I do that.
Right.
But I knew that I could, like, there was a very real opportunity, and it was with my husband, and I saw him, like, his love for watercolor painting, which transitioned into a love for cooking, and then that became a love for farming, and it gave me such joy to support him in that. And it really hit home why that matters so much when he was diagnosed with cancer, and we had 18 months from his diagnosis to his death.
Yeah.
18 months, and I got to watch a man, like, his body was physically, like, he fought so hard, but as he was physically losing the energy and the life force started to drain out of him, he was satisfied. He was able to look death in the face and say, like, I did what I came here to do.
Right.
And I thought I'd have longer, but I did it. And he thanked me for supporting him. I thanked him for standing up for himself to say, like, this is what I want to do, Cal. I want to be a stay-at-home dad, and I want to do these things. I want to support our family in this way, amidst a lot of opposition from a lot of people around us who were like, he should be working full-time. Like, he should be, if you got to go do your grunt work, he's got to do his
The societal shoulds, right?
And I'm like, damn, he knows what he wants to do, and he's so lit up. Like, at least one of us can give our girls an example of what it looks like to live freaking alive and on fire.
Right.
And so I want that for them. I want that more than anything else. And so that's really at the heart of my work with Kelly Green Coaching. And I start my work with an invitation to hold space for the ache. Because I think that's where our juice is, our power is, our vitality is. If we learn how to harness that and how to allow that to like move into these things that we feel passionate about. And you know, there's some other steps in between, which is like really getting clear about what's in our ecosystem, you know, what is supporting thriving and what's not, and what do we do about those things. So
That's big work, Kelly.
It's huge. I'm just in awe at the depth of the work that you do and the passion that you have around it. I'm in awe of the journey that you have taken to get and learn from throughout the process to get to where you are now. I could listen and ask a question for hours. Thank you so much.
Where can we
for
find Kelly
spending the
Green
time.
Coaching? Sorry.
So I'm online at kellygreencoaching.com. I'm on social media channels under my full name, Kelly Isabel DeMarco, DeMarco.
Okay. Those are helpful. Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Thank you.
Thanks
You
for
are
sharing
welcome,
your
and-
story and your business with us. It's really big work. It's important and necessary work.
Yeah, I think we all wrestle with like, what do we do, you know, in
Yeah.
a planet that is filled with so much need in a time like now. And I really believe with all my heart that when we take the bold steps to really come alive and thrive ourselves, that we support planetary thriving too.
Mm-hmm.
And that they're not in opposition to one another. They are in sync with one another.
Correct.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that makes a lot of sense to me anyway. You know, if you have a bunch of people who are very miserable, the energy that comes out from them is
The same. Right.
right. And that impacts everything.
Yeah. it
Everything
does.
and everyone around them. That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And if we
The
can,
happier the people, the happier the planet.
yeah, if we can see that shift,
Yeah.
then it can do nothing but
Right.
create more harmony.
Yeah. And we sure need some of that. We need a lot of that.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes it's easier to, you know, binge watch the next series.
Oh yeah, it
Or
is.
to
Been there.
buy the
Yes.
next thing, or
Yes.
hit buy on Amazon or whatever we do to fill.
Distract.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think one of the most potent things we can do is just like sit down and
Stop with the
get present.
distracting. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Get real about it.
What it is that what
Listen.
is it that's urging you?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or stopping you, right?
Yes.
From
Right.
the urge.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
If you've identified what is fueling the urge, then what is not allowing you to
Right.
act on that?
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Wow. Thanks, Kelly.
You're
Appreciate
welcome.
This
you.
was a good time.
Thank you,
All right.
both of you.
So that's the end of this episode. And if you are just tuning in, this is, well, we haven't really identified when our very last episode
No,
will
we
be, but
haven't.
this is our last season.
Yep, it is.
So this felt like a really good episode to have with Kelly, where we can get a little closer to some answers about living a life with passion
Yeah.
and why we're not, and the
Absolutely.
things that stand in our way, and why our well is always dry, and all of those things that we've talked about ad nauseum in the last 3 years. Kelly gets in there a little bit deeper to dig out some of the answers to some of those questions, which seems really pretty fitting. So, all right, on that note, if you are interested in doing a podcast, please reach out to Mind Garden Media. Todd, thank you, as always, for putting our podcast together. I don't know, he might be thrilled that we're at the end of and
No,
wrapping
he's
things up.
not.
I don't think he is. He's reached out to us a couple of times and has said how much he enjoys our podcast since we've told him that we are wrapping it up. He's like, oh, but your voices make me happy. So anyway, if you are interested, reach out to Todd because he does a fantastic job. We just send him a file. He sends it all back in all the ways that it needs to be, and he can help you get started with your podcast He can give you advice on equipment, and believe it or not, he doesn't really think the best way to do it is in the car with your cell phone. But
However, it's worked.
if it is the only way you can get it done, then that's the best way to do it.
So thank you, Todd.
Yeah.
Thank you as well to our listeners. I just went online today to take a look at some statistics. Just in 2025, we have listeners all around the world, anywhere from, of course, the USA, United Kingdom, India, Australia, Germany, Russia, Canada, France, Ukraine, South America, wrapping it up with Japan, Spain, Ireland, and El Salvador.
Wow.
That's a whole lot of places and a whole lot of folks listening. So thank you very much.
Thanks for following along.
Yeah.
All right, then. Till next time.
Till next time. Thanks, Kelly.
Thanks, Kelly. Toodaloo.
Bye.